to have those kingdom conversations.
Thank you and welcome to Kingdom Conversations with Dr. Shirley and Leandra, where each week, through the grace of God, we hope to inspire women to thrive in their purpose-driven lives through lessons learned and a whole lot of wisdom.
Hello, my people. Welcome back to Kingdom Conversations. I'm Dr. Shirley.
And I am Leandra Williams. We are here with Kingdom Conversations. We are here with you, which is always a great place to be. We have my bestest of friends, Dr. Shirley, here. She brings such great insight. And then we have talked about some great stuff in the past few weeks. If you haven't tuned in, please catch up because I'm telling you what, you need to. So last session, we talked about women. We talked about our independence and submission and what that looks like and how we can put that into perspective and how we can reconstruct that and restructure what that really means, how it's hindering us, and how we can move forward. So I think we left off, Shirley, at the last one where we were talking about us being submissive, doing our thing, letting our man be the man. You know, we're like Tarzan and Jane. He looks good. And then he's slipping up. And now you feel like you kind of got to pick up the pieces, right? And you're like, but how am I? Oh, now you want to be the man, but you keep slipping up. So understandable. I feel the frustration. I hear the frustration. I get it. So, Shirley, what are we doing at that point? Now what? Now our sisters are like, okay, so we already did all that, and this is what's happening, so it's not working.
Listen.
So now what?
I always have to check myself, okay? Because I will be the quick. I used to be. I told you so. Why'd you do it that way? I told you. Listen, you didn't like it when your mama told you so, okay? Okay.
Yep.
You didn't like it. I feel that when you are right, and even when Jesus Christ comes down himself and says, Shirley, in this very moment, in this situation, you are right. It doesn't make my partner feel good.
No.
And I now feel no need to celebrate when my husband is wrong. I don't get a plaque. I don't get an award. I do not get a concert for being right. Honestly, I'm just right. Like, yeah, girl, you knew better. You knew he should have done better. But he feels bad. That doesn't bring me joy.
Right.
It really doesn't. I don't want to celebrate him being wrong. So the whole I told you so is completely gone out the door. I don't support it whatsoever.
Not
and it's like, okay, all right, no problem. Let's figure out another way. Let's work together. Let's try to figure out how we can salvage this or whatever. And a good man. Again, you got to select a good man. A good man will recognize that, you know what? I did mess up. Right. And when they feel bad, I don't want to kick them more when he's down. I really don't. It brings me zero pleasure whatsoever. So when I'm already seeing him down, I'm like, like, it's okay. Because let me tell you something. When I messed up, I messed up, which of course is like, you know, like once every 10
years. Once every 10 years, jag it. Don't you miscorrect where I got to edit something.
I feel horrible. And honestly, there were times I really messed up bad. And I was like, my husband deserves to yell at me. Like, I need to be put on punishment. I need to go to my room. And he was like, Shirley, it's okay. And I'm like, what? And I'm crying. I'm sobbing because I really did mess up bad. Like, I'm crying. Like, dang. Like, how did you not know better? And he was just like, honey, it's okay. It's okay. He gave me so much grace when he could have ripped me apart. And that's why, like, I'll hold on to that. That one time I messed up in all my 40 years.
That one time she messed up in all of her 40 years, it was not documented. It was not the end of the world. It was not brought to anybody's attention. It was more so like, all right, we just like, that's not even you. you, girl. That's not even
and you know what? He's so good. He doesn't even bring it up, but me, like I'm still beating myself
Women
up.
are
Like
so
a whole
different. We bring
5,
up
7
things
years
all the time.
later.
We bring things up all the time.
Huh.
You know what?
Remember that time, January 3rd,
yeah, I'm like December 3rd, 1992.
There was a wind chill factor of -15, and that's when you messed up.
You were wearing your lucky blue socks that day. Like, so it's just, I get it, ladies. And I think for me, with the whole thing, Shirley, I completely agree with you, first of all, on what you're saying with, you know, it doesn't make us, in the end, it makes you feel good maybe in that moment because you're like, I'm right. I knew I was right. Like, you should have listened to me. Like, you feel like I should just do this. I should take care of it because you can't handle it. So I'll just take care of it. And I think more so than not, I think it more so back to me on just kind of how I handle that with the continuous, if there's things that aren't really meshing and I'm like, I'm trying to let go. I'm trying to sit back. But you over here, you got me. It's just like we are on the thinnest ice. I can hear it cracking. And it's about to like just open up, right? And you're just like waiting and you're kind of, but you have to remember, okay, I'm his helper, right? How do I step back into that mode? How do I step back in? Because I loved this saying I heard one time, and it says, the king is the most important piece on the board, but the queen is the most powerful piece on the board. So we don't need to go in like, you know, boisterous and loud and demanding and overpowering when there's something going wrong, because we have a skill. There's a skill that we have that God blessed us with. That's why he created us from man, because a man is not complete. So we are here to be the helper. We're here to still guide. Yeah, I think if you just let him know certain things, plant that seed, suggest something, and, you know, use your power in a different way, ladies. And when you're forgiving and you're giving grace, it's going to be more than once. I'm so sorry. Yeah. It's going to be more than once.
Yes.
It's like a practice. It's like over and over. And I say with forgiveness, you have to forgive over, because you might get mad at that same thing that we were just talking about that you keep bringing up. You're going to get mad at that again in like a year from now because something will trigger it. And you're going to be back to that, and you're like, but we already did this. We already talked about this. We already crossed this path, and we're here again. I think it's more so we have to repeat the forgiveness. We have to repeat giving grace. This is a practice. It's not something you set and forget. This is an ongoing thing of changing our mindset and what we've been told our whole entire life, or what we've seen our whole entire life, that we now have to undo, so we can be great in ourselves, great with our marriages, great for examples for our children. It's generations that we're trying to be great for.
Yes.
I don't want to put all that pressure, but at the same time, I'm telling you, you're worthy of that. You can do that.
And just start somewhere, right? So again, you highlighted, this is what we've been taught, or what we learned or saw or heard. Listen, I feel I was a feminist when I was a child. I probably didn't even know how to spell feminist. I remember just like one day, I think it was like, I don't know, 2nd, 3rd grade. So I'm like 8 or 9 years old. And I'm just like looking in the school library, and I was like, wow, there's never been like a female president. Like, oh my gosh, like what's going on?
Yeah.
And so from right there, like I'm a feminist, right? But like what happened was, again, you know, women broke barriers, right? They broke the glass ceilings. We know women were not allowed to work. We know women were not allowed to vote. Like, women had to pave the way for us. And I get that. And I respect that. And I honor you, women. Thank you.
Flowers. But, you get your flowers.
But as I have gotten older, I realized something good happens. And then I feel like we just go and skyrocket, probably even out of the original intent, right? So now we've gone from feminism, which literally is like equality of rights, right? We're just trying to be equal with men. But now we've taken feminism to a whole nother level, and we're trying to be better than men, dominate men, kick men out of the workforce, kick men out of leadership positions. Like, we've gone to an extreme.
So true.
We need our men, ladies. Yes. They are not bad. They no. You know, yes, I understand. There are specific men who sexually harassed women, who did not hire women, who battered women. I get that. Those stories belong to those specific individual men. We cannot bring down all men. There are so many men who love women and are rooting for women to be CEOs and the next president of the United States. Like, there's plenty of men. We cannot bash all men and put men in this one bucket that they don't deserve equal rights.
You're because just like, then, this is a blanket that goes over to all of them. That covers all of them. And that's not right.
And now you want to talk about, I'm a feminist and I am woman, hear me roar. But then you want to go accuse men. You want to belittle men. You don't want to take out your trash no more. You still want them to open the door. My dear, you cannot have it exactly the way you want it. Okay? You cannot be a feminist and also soft at the same time. At least the definition of feminism, I feel, in like 2024, right? I think we've just gone too extreme with the men bashing. Like, to me, it's just unacceptable. I do believe you can be a force with nature. I do believe you can be a career, I don't want to say centered, but you can be at the height of your career, right? You can be a go-getter and ambitious. I mean, that's how God made you. Do you understand that? That wasn't just you. God made you a go-getter and, you know, to persevere. Like, he made you exactly like that. Hello, are you not carrying children and birthing them? That's exactly how he made you. Does not mean you need to put down other people in the process. Powerful. No, you own what God made you. You own your go-getting self. You own your persevering self. You own that. Yes, that's me. Do not put other people down in the process, including your spouse and other men surrounding you in the workplace. Like, listen, no, that has got to stop. And that's where it stops. Okay. Stop blaming men for everything. No. Woo. Focus on yourself, please. That's step one of healing. Shoot, I'm sure we.
Girl, that is healing, because you might have people logging off after that. Because let me tell you something. That's a hard pill to swallow, okay? But it's the freaking truth.
It's necessary.
It is so the truth. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I am the same way. I believed myself to be a feminist, and I was very much so gung-ho, like women, that independent mindset. And then it started to click to me that I was hindering and hurting myself in the process of trying to be so great and trying to be so independent and trying to be so self-made and so self-this, that I was taking away why God even put me here in the first place. And I think that starts to water down your whole life being. And now you're off track. And I think that's what we're trying to bring to you here is you're not aligning yourself because you're being, taken by culture. And you're being taken by things that, are here today. And it's just, it keeps reforming and changing. And we're going with it. And that's not good.
That's not good. I listen, I wasn't there, in them days when these laws were passed. I was not alive. But I think, first and foremost, just the bravery of those women. I really think they were just trying to help.
I can't even imagine.
Right. Just help. Like, man, this isn't right. What's happening to women? Let's do this. And the intent is beautiful. It was needed. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely. It was needed because we were not working. We were not voting. And in fact, the numbers still show for themselves. We still, percentage wise, Women are not making as much money as men. Women are not in CEO leadership positions as much as men. Women are not in political office as much as men. This is still happening in 2024. Just because that's still happening doesn't mean we also need to put down someone in order to climb up.
That's right.
That's what we're trying to say, if you haven't logged off yet.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say. We do not have to bash men. We do not have to act independent from them in order to be our great selves. Has the needle been taking a while to move? Yes. But we will get there because we are women, right?
That's right.
We are bold and courageous. We can do this. How about we do it with our men? How about we do it with the people that God assigned to us? We are a helpmate. We were created from our man's rib, Adam's rib. Like, this is where we are created from. We are not meant to do life alone, right? Even if you don't have a significant other right now, like even just the friends that God has put in place. My girlfriend calls it destiny helpers. And I just love that, right? You just need your destiny helpers. You cannot do this on your own, even though you think you've been doing it on your own. But listen, you were under your mama's roof for a good time while you were trying to be independent.
That's right.
She was still helping you with those bills. Let's keep it real. Like, I remember I saw this post. It was like, I owe my mom $1,970,000,000,000.
And counting. Like, I owe her for life.
Has not collected.
You know, I owe her for life. Yeah, she's still collecting for real. I'm loving this because I feel like in this time, right, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you can always argue both sides to this, right? We can always go and say, well, you know, and I can see us ping-ponging back and forth. And that's why we're having this conversation, because you're trying to find the middle. That's what we're trying to do, is find the middle. We're trying to find that solid ground where you are independent, but you are submissive, where you are a helper, but you are able to voice your opinion as well. We're trying to bring that together, because I think where we need to be intentional, and that's where that word comes in, where we need to be intentional. So the feminism, you can be a feminist, but you don't have to be a feminist, modern day feminist, where you feel like men are less than women and women are greater than men, or men. I feel like women are trying to almost take the role of a man sometimes, you know? And
it ain't easy. I don't want that on my shoulders.
I don't want that on my shoulders.
At a household?
I know.
It's a hard job.
Some women have to step up. Some women have to step up, and they have to fill those shoes.
Listen,
so it's like, how do those women...
rolling up my sleeves.
Yeah, girl. How do those women listen to this and they're like, well, I have been left with no options. I've had no option but to be this person, right? How am I able to be and step into my feminism when I'm in the workplace, I'm working those doubles, I'm taking care of my household, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm doing all this by myself, and they don't want to, but they are. So it's like...
I'm going to ask you this. Did you let him take care of the kids? Did you let him clean the house? Did you let him do any of this? Because we women, me. let me.
I know. I have to keep saying. Might as well just speak for myself.
Because I don't have a type A personality, but type A personality people like things done a certain way.
Yes.
Listen, I like to have plans, but I also kind of go with the wind too. Like, hey, things don't work out. Listen, type A'ers out there, right? There are 100 solutions to one problem. So even if you do not like how your husband is doing it, accomplishing the task, taking care of the kids, whether it's bathing the kids, feeding the kids, getting them out the door, even if you don't like the way he's doing it, is he doing it?
Right.
Are they getting to school? Do they have their pajamas on at the night? Are they malnourished? If these things are not happening and they are accomplishing something, then let them do it the way they want to do it. But what some women I hear out there, not me. I hear out there, some women are not allowing their husbands to do that. So now you're putting all that pressure on yourself. I cook, I clean, I take that, I do this. Well, I'm
That's me,
pretty
girl.
sure your husband wanted to help you, but you didn't
Yeah.
like the way he was doing it. Listen, my dear, like I said, there are 100 problems, 100 solutions to one problem. Your way is not the end all be all. In fact, there are people out there who do it better than you. How about that? So allow your husband to help you so you do not feel the weight
Yep.
of the world
Yeah.
on you. So one,
Yeah.
allow him. Two, you might not be with the right person. Not that that guy is a bad guy, is a deadbeat, is lazy or whatever. He may not even be that. He may be that around you because you're not the one destined for him. When he gets into a relationship with the right lady, he will do those things for that woman. He's not a deadbeat altogether. He just may not be want to do that with you because whatever the case is, right? So look at your partner,
This is tricky.
but also look at yourself. I know.
I
Listen,
know you got your husband rubbing off on you because you just keep going
He
back to
really
this accountability.
does. Listen.
She's just like, well, we're gonna have to self-reflect, and you want to know what? It needs to be done because that's where the work starts.
Yes, and I got
That's
to
really
this
where
point.
the work starts.
Not on my own, because trust me, my husband and I would argue over this or have polite discussions. Well, I'd be like, listen, women are like this and Black women are like this because of the trauma, because most incarcerated people are in the United States versus the world, and Black men are not in the household. Like, I'm dropping the statistics.
She's given all the statistics. She's given all the, all of this. This is what it is. This is what we see.
What
this
changed
is the
my
majority.
heart? What changed my heart was when I started hearing stories of other men. Just because we went through trauma, our daddies were not home in the household growing up, whatever situation happened to us, it happened to a man too.
Correct. Wow.
It happens to men. Like, my husband will tell me he gets sexually harassed. There are men out there who get raped. We don't hear about those stories. We don't hear about these things. So I was able to learn to be empathetic because I started hearing other stories, not just my husband saying, "Oh, Shirley, you this and da-da-da," and waving your neck.
Right.
Like that, right? It's happening to other men. And now that I have a son, a 13-year-old son, like, listen.
Who sounds like a whole man in the background when he's talking. Like, who is that man in your house?
Who broke into our house?
Who is that?
But that's the truth. When I started hearing about from a men's point of view, I understand, like, wow, like you men are afraid. You men are afraid. The Me Too movement, so powerful. When that happened, it allowed women to come forward, the courage to finally tell their story after decades, right?
I know.
But now, again, like, I can't speak for all men. I can actually only speak for my husband. Like, now it's, if a man just happens to look at the woman wrong, they're probably like gazing and totally zoned out. But apparently they looked at the woman wrong and they're claiming Me Too. Again, there's a powerful movement, and I think we as a culture take it to a whole nother level. We become extreme with it, and now men, I've heard from not just my husband, not just his friends, from other men, different races, they're afraid to approach women because of Me Too movement. They're afraid to be either get put in jail, like whatever, like they are afraid. And I'm like, that's no way to live. That is no way to live for a man or a woman, So just kind of like reeling it back in and, bringing it down again. Like, I feel culture has taken things to an extreme. Ignore culture. Look at your household. Look at you. Right. Have that conversation with God, because one, you do have to submit to God. You do have to surrender to God. If he brings you a helpmate, allow that mate to help you. Submission is not a bad word. I think there is a negative connotation associated with it. But
what does submission look like if they were to paint it
barefoot and
like
pregnant?
a book? Barefoot and pregnant.
That's not it. Submission really is equality. It really is, because the Bible says, women, submit to your husbands, husbands, submit to your wives as the weaker vessel.
Right.
Like, it's there. So yes, allow your husband to be the spiritual head. And even if he's not there, that's another thing too, right? He may not even be spiritually there. Again, doesn't mean you take over.
That's huge too.
You be the helper and help him. Hey, honey, let's pray real quick. Just for 5 seconds. Let me just lay hands on you. Okay, you sleeping. All right.
I
Father,
know, right? Just
Jesus.
pray over him. Pray over him. Pray over him.
But do not take over. And it's okay. And I think we'll talk about this in our next episode of marriage. I love it. But
heavy loaded conversations.
But
there's
I love
so
it.
much to cover, because it's like there's detours on everything. There's so much involved. There's
it
so
all
many
comes
moving
together.
pieces.
There's
so many different scenarios. We're trying to reach all of you to kind of touch on everybody's different scenarios while speaking through ourselves and our own personal, experiences, and bring it to the table. So It's like what you're touching on right now, Shirley, it just covers so much of just what you said feminism was and where it's at now. And when women have been given that voice, and then where it goes from there. And then, what is the effect from that? What has happened from that? What is the domino effect? Where has that led us? Where are we at? Like, now we're all, caught up on all these strings, and we're just trying to grasp we're taking all of these experiences, some of them of which haven't happened to us personally, and then we're applying that to our everyday, and that's our approach to everyday. And it's like, what are we doing here? We need to reel it back in. We need to get back to the basics.
We're just dividing ourselves. That's
we
the
are
truth.
dividing ourselves.
And you're literally letting the enemy win, because that's what he wants.
That is exactly what he wants. That's exactly.
You're letting the enemy win.
It's so hard to just focus back in on what your purpose is as a woman, what that looks like as a woman. We cannot control everything outside of our realm. We only have control of so much. And I think that that's where we need to focus on is, what is our mission? What is our purpose here? What are we doing? That's where that self-reflect that you keep talking about, where you're just, we have to look in the mirror and we have to say, okay, what am I doing that's causing me to be in certain situations? Or what am I saying? Or who am I surrounding myself with? What kind of people am I around that needs to be able, you need to take inventory. Inventory is important. I think you need to go over all of that in a nutshell and kind of bring it back, because we keep adjusting to more of this side of feminism, to a whole different ball game, and it's hindering us as women. And we were using this to bring women up, and now it's almost a hindering, because in a lot of cases, in a lot of circumstances, not everyone, but in a lot of situations, it's misunderstood. Yep. So it's really on how the person understands what it means and how they apply it to their life, then what they're teaching their children, because now you're the example and people are watching you. They're watching you. So what you're doing and how you're saying and how you're moving, it's also important. It's important, and it's okay to be a woman, and it's okay to be submissive. It's okay to be independent. Yes. It's okay to be both, but to also be combined with God in the middle. I think that's so important.
Absolutely. Honestly, you just said it so well there. You hit it in the end. It's okay to be both. You will not lose your identity. You can go become the next president of the United States, and you will have a man. It's not about a good man, bad man, a godly man right there supporting you. Okay? Oh, wow. I hope some of you are still tuned in.
I think that, it's a hard conversation, because we don't want to accept and we don't want to, face the reality. Mm-hmm. But you know what, girl? Nobody has to know that you listen to this, okay? You don't even need to but you need to take it, put that seed, and just sit on that for a minute. Sit on it for a minute, because we want you to be your best self. That's why we're here. We want to be our best version of
and
ourselves.
Just start somewhere. I know.
That's right.
Unlearning habits. How do you unlearn? You learn. You'll learn
and replace
new
with other
and better habits. One thing that I live by with Leandra, she says, when you know better, you do better. And that's it. Right? You're not losing your identity. You're not losing yourself. You're just reacting in a different way. Being more positive, being more intentional, surrendering and listening more to God. That's it. Because he made you divinely beautiful. So thank you again. This was so uplifting for me. Yeah. I appreciate you so much, Miss Lily, with your sunshine yellow. Girl, I love you. Okay. I love me some Miss Lily.
I love you too, girl. I appreciate you so much. I think these conversations are amazing. You guys are all amazing. Yes. Shirley, I thank you, girl.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Again, continue to subscribe and like our channels. We appreciate the love and support. You take care. Have a blessed day.
Take care. Bye.